everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Collecting Profit with my co-host, as always, Michael over at Huddle Card Collection. How you doing this week, brother?
Doing wonderful, 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 sir. Looking forward to tonight.
Yeah, absolutely. Me too. Big shout out to Michael for actually hooking us up with Scott over at Next Gem. Scott, if you could just give a brief rundown of kind of who you are and kind of what you do for anybody that's unfamiliar with you or Next Gem.
Yeah, absolutely. My name is Scott Wright, and I'm a co-founder of Next Gem. And in short, we're kind of trying to do for cards in your collection what the iPhone and iPod did for music. We want to bring the accessibility to your pocket and make it easy to interact with them, share them, show them off. And we do that by helping you capture amazing pictures, helping you kind of harness social media, where there's just a huge, vibrant community, but can be a little bit difficult to tap into, especially if you're not familiar with the ins and outs. So, and just try to and help facilitate networking and connecting collectors. So that's what we're about.
That's awesome. That's really cool. And just to give you guys a little bit of a idea of what their platform looks like, here is the website. If you guys are interested in checking it out, I do have a pinned comment there with the website, and I will also make sure that it's in the description down below if anybody's watching this on the replay. So as you can see, some of the newest cards that have come on the platform. Is that right, Scott?
Yeah, absolutely. This is our discovery feed where you can see from the most recent, just the latest, greatest, and it's infinite to your heart's content. There's hundreds of thousands of cards, so you can just keep going, and you can see there's little. If you're logged in, you can hike the cards by clicking that little flame. So yeah, absolutely. This is just one of the ways to enjoy all the amazing cards on Next Gen.
You know, I'm gonna hype Barry Bonds.
Got to.
So when I see this, I'm not just seeing my cards. I'm seeing all the members of Next Gem, right?
That's absolutely right. Yeah. And if you scan a card and publish it, you'd be the first one on the far left there. And as more come in, they just keep shuffling. So yeah. And as you can see at the top there, there's all kinds of little tabs that if you just want to see soccer, you can click the soccer and you'll see all soccer cards and etc. So yeah.
That's awesome. Oh, so you can even do raw cards as well. So it's not just graded?
Yeah, absolutely. 100% you can do raw cards.
That's awesome.
Very cool.
So
now when you scan, so do I as the user type in the information that I'm seeing below the card?
Yeah. So one of the reasons Next Gem came about is because as collectors ourselves, we just didn't see all the technology that's been developed in the last 30 years since we were kids harnessed for the hobby yet. And really one of the things where we saw that was images. We, even on like high value cards, it'd be like just the front of the card taken from 10 feet away. And we thought there just has to be a better way to do a lot of these things in the hobby. So it starts with capturing these great images. And one cool thing we do is you lay the cards flat on a solid black or white background. And you can actually snap it from any angle to really make the colors pop and get the best view. And we automatically adjust it and make it straight, crop out all of the background for you. And then with slabs, we extract all the information right off the label. So you don't have to do all that data input. We do it for raw cards as well. And we're constantly improving on that. It's not 100% right, but we constantly get feedback that we do it better than anyone else, and that's always great to hear because it's something we constantly strive to do better on. So yeah, and also then if you don't want to capture live pictures, let's say you already have great pictures of your cards, you can import as well, whether it's something from PSA or SGC or something you already had in your camera roll. You just click a button, select the pictures, you click a little box if you want the background cropped out, and it goes through the same process.
Nice. That's really cool.
Really,
just
really cool.
The imaging alone is worth it, not to mention like the data that you provide on it. You know what I mean? Like, just like, for example, if you were to take any one of these raw cards and send it into PSA, just the information you provide here makes it super easy just to like copy and paste right onto a submission form or whatever. So that's awesome.
Yeah, and having those nice high quality pictures too, like for grading, it's nice to have the before picture, right? While it's away for maybe 3 months at PSA, you can still enjoy it. And if something comes back you don't have a question about, you have a really high quality picture to refer back to.
Yeah, absolutely. That's a really good insurance policy, especially like in the odd event that like a card, God forbid, gets damaged or something like that that you can't prove. But like now, clearly, with the high resolution scans and stuff, that's awesome. Hey, Lockin, what's up, brother? Good to see you, Dom. Appreciate you guys being here this evening. You guys have any questions for Scott? Feel free to throw them in the chat. But yeah, this is really cool. So being that you're a co-founder, what was it that made you kind of want to get into like a hobby related business? Was it just like did you grow up a collector, or what was the drive behind it?
Yeah, I grew up a big time collector. I mean, I was that kid setting up at the VFW when I was 10 years old and
That's awesome.
Wow.
buying my Chuck Knobloch cards for a quarter and selling them for $1. And I like the title of your show, Collecting Profit, because that really resonates with me. I feel like sometimes in the hobby that you know the money aspect of it's almost frowned upon, that you're not pure if you do anything with the money part, but to me that's part of the fun. I mean, it shouldn't be
For
everything,
sure.
but I mean, I learned a lot of great life lessons as a kid when it comes to money, working with cards, and that's how I funded my hobby. And even to this day I still do fund my hobby through flipping some cards, and I kind of enjoy the challenge of that. But anyway, so I was a huge collector, and then like a lot of people, I fell out of it when I got to college. But even when I was quote unquote out of it, I was still on eBay buying Call It Elamine cards for like my PC, and so I was out of it, but I wasn't really. But I got fully back in, because for 20 years I covered the NFL draft. That was my career. I was an NFL draft analyst. I got to be on radio, TV, print across the country. I was even in the Madden video game as one of the off-season draft analysts, which is the thing that impressed my friends the most by
Wow.
far.
That's awesome.
Yeah, but
Really cool.
Panini actually sponsored my coverage of the Senior Bowl All-Star game, and they sent me some packs of cards, and I went down there and I would shoot videos talking about collecting experiences with. The very first one I did was Josh Allen. Also, over the years, Daniel Jones, Deebo Samuel, Justin Herbert, etc. Probably about 100 guys over the years, and that's what kind of reignited my passion for cards and made me dig out my old collection and really go both feet back into it. But even at that time, like I said, I was covering the draft. I was watching football, writing about football, talking about football for a living. I was living a dream. But then this opportunity came up for Next Gem, and this chance to kind of return to my first love. And as I talked about earlier, just seeing the possibilities of using some of this technology in the hobby where it wasn't being used, it just really intrigued me. And it's probably one of the only things that could have got me to make that switch. So that's kind of my story.
That's awesome, man. I always love seeing somebody who like has a real passion for the hobby behind one of these hobby businesses. You know what I mean? Like you can really see like somebody's love and dedication behind a product. And
Thank you, appreciate that. That we definitely strive for that, because as you can tell, I truly am a card nerd, and I use that term in the best of ways. I own that. I love it. I really truly enjoy the card, so I'm glad that comes through in the app.
And Anthony was a ball boy for the Pittsburgh Steelers.
I was telling him that before he popped in. Actually, yeah, we were talking about the Jerome Bettis in the background.
Yep, because Notre Dame's the one team I live and die with, and I remember watching Jerome Bettis in college. In fact, I mentioned I covered the NFL draft. The reason I got into the NFL draft and became as hardcore into it as I was the 1993 NFL draft, where Jerome Bettis was the 10th pick. Notre Dame had like 5 or 6 of the top 45 picks that year. Rick Meyer, Tom Carter, all these guys, Irv Smith Sr. So yeah, it's Jerome Bettis. It all comes back to the bus for me, I guess.
Yeah, cool. I love the bus man. He's one of my all-time favorites. Even before I ever got to meet him, as a ball boy, he was like, I was just telling my girlfriend the story the other day of 6th grade. I actually went as Jerome Bettis for Halloween. Like he was like that important to me growing up. Like he was like my hero. It was like him and Kobe Bryant were like my 2 idols.
He's larger than life. He's like a little different than just the average athlete, professional athlete.
Absolutely. Yep. And really nice guy too in real life, which is awesome.
Love to hear that.
Yeah, absolutely. So let me ask you this: what's like the long-term vision and the plan behind Next Gem? Is there like, I guess like specific things you guys are looking to add in the future? that you're excited about, that you're working on, that I guess that you're allowed to talk about?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm an open book. I can talk about everything. So one thing is, up until just recently, we have been iPhone only. So all these Android users for almost 2 years now, that they've wanted to get on the app. They've been asking when's it coming. We didn't have an answer for them. We were kind of waiting to get to a certain point before we expanded to it, and we've hit that point now. And we have the web presence, which is what you've been showing. You can see that.
Yep.
Whether you're iPhone, Android, you can go to the web, app.nextgem.com. You can create an account, and you can do just about everything on the web that you could on the app, and anything that you can't, we're in the process of adding it. But then also later this month, we're going to have a version of it in the Google Play Store. So you'll be able to download it to your phone like an app as well. So that's definitely one of the first things I'm really excited about, just because definitely the number one thing that's been requested over the years. We finally can say, you want NextGem, you can have it now. So, and the other thing too is kind of marketplace aspects. Yes.
That's
right.
amazing.
And we give
for
you
gradability, like even pre-grading, like imagine like I wanted to know if this was worth grading. It's like literally I can blow it up super big and like see any of the defects. That's awesome.
And that's one of the things too, there's so many little card specific things I could get into that we do like that. You take the 2 pictures, we
like
automatically divvy it up into quadrants. We give you that 10 picture output.
Wow.
On slabs, we extract that link to the PSA page. So then you can go to the card in the app in your collection, just click one link and you'll bring up the population. So you can see what the pop is on that card. So we've done a lot of cool little card specific stuff like that within the app that just really saves time and value, because that's been one of our core principles. And everybody we talk to, no matter if you have the biggest or smallest collection, time.
That's awesome.
That's absolutely right. One click and I'll open up the eBay comps, and yeah. So time saving though, everything we do is kind of with that through the lens of how can we save people time, and so they can focus on the fun stuff, the cards.
That's awesome. Like you even have the corners down on the graded cards. It's awesome. That's really, really cool. So like if I was looking at this, like, oh, that might not be a XYZ, you know what I mean? Like you hear the phrase all the time, buy the card, not the slab. It's like you're actually showcasing what the card is, regardless of the fact that it says PSA whatever. That's really cool.
Yeah.
Yep, absolutely. Every PSA 10 is not made equally.
Correct.
Yeah. Ain't that the truth?
That's super cool. And that's
so you can actually trade.
Yes. So as I was saying, marketplace features, that's next things that we're kind of delving into a little bit. And we did not set out to be a marketplace, right? There's tons of people out there doing that with huge audiences, but consistently, one of the main things we've heard from people, other than we want Android, is we want to buy and sell cards. And I understand that, right? It's just a natural part of the hobby. And without it, it feels like it's missing something. So we're starting to implement some of those things, and we're going to do it gradually because we want to do it right. We don't want to rush. But stay tuned. We're going to have buy sell features rolling out very soon. And right now, deals are still been going on and down on NextGem for years, just through the chat, like they would on social media. You just reach out, and as you probably you haven't seen it on the web because we haven't implemented chat there yet. But in the app, every card has a little chat button below it. You click the chat, you're instantly talking with the owner of that card. So
that's really cool.
Connecting people and making kind of community is something we've really been focused on. And one, I think, really distinct advantage we have over maybe every other marketplace out there. I feel like that sounds like talking really big when I say it out loud, but I kind of think it's true, is that every card on like Golden, for the most part, or eBay or everywhere, they're for sale, right? They're trying to be moved. Where as NextGem, we really want it to be where your PC cards live as well. Maybe they aren't available, but at least, people can enjoy them. Other people can see them. And maybe somebody reaches out and they make you a Godfather offer that you can't refuse. But we want to celebrate those PC cards and give them home as well. And then if the time ever comes where you do want to move it, maybe somebody makes you that offer. It's out there so you can receive that offer. Or if you want to put it to a marketplace, it's at your fingertips. You can get great pictures right away and do it right away.
Do you have any integration? Like, for example, like my eBay store has like 3,700 some cards. Like, can I just upload like cards that are already done, or would I have to actually go get the picture, upload it, and do that? Like, will there ever be a feature where you could just upload, like, if you have like a bunch of cards already on the internet, like to your platform instead?
Yeah, that's something we've talked about is integration, whether it be with other platforms like eBay to maybe an easy listing tool to save time that way. But we haven't done it yet. But one thing we do aid with that listing is it's really easy to export the pictures. You just in the app, you click a share button, and then we have all these templates and layouts. You can pick the one that fits your card the best, just the front, the back,
Nice.
top vertical, bottom horizontal, whatever you want. We have like 9 templates. You pick the one you want, and it saves it right to your camera roll. And then you have those great pictures you can use on your eBay listings. And I can tell you from experience, great pictures make a big difference with cards.
Oh yeah.
Having that easy access. Perfect example. I had actually had to scan into my Next Gen collection a Zach Wilson card. And during the Monday Night Football game, obviously everyone's buying Zach Wilson cards because Aaron Rodgers got hurt. So literally right before bed, I was like, well, it's on my phone. I already have these pictures. I'm just going to throw it up on eBay, and boom, card that was going for $5. A few hours earlier, it sold for $25 the night before. And
Nice.
I wouldn't have been able to do that if I didn't have those pictures right on my phone as I was going to go to bed and made it handy. So kind of a personal use case where provided value for me.
For sure. Yeah, I was hoping I'd be one of the people to ride that Zach Wilson train. I have like 1 million of his cards on eBay still, but I think I might still have them at the 2021 prices.
I was going to say, it's over already. Is the wave over already? I was like, sell him before he plays again. That's the key.
Yeah, absolutely. I might actually go in there and lower the pricing. What's up, Dr. Mantis? Good to see you, brother. Big John's in the house. Appreciate you sharing out the podcast earlier, brother. That meant a lot.
So let me ask you, so obviously, for instance, on the PSA card, right? There would only be one of that card, right? Because it'll have a PSA number, so on and so forth. But if let's say I don't know what pick anybody, let's say they Patrick Mahomes, and red ice cards, not numbered, but just say red ice, right? Because I'm using it for my collection, show people, but I'm also, who knows if somebody maybe want to trade for it. Would every single one of those cards be separate, or is there like one and then everybody else who had that card listed, would they fall underneath there, or is each card unique?
Each card is unique with your picture, and it's assigned its own, we call it our next gem number. So each one is unique. So if you have like 10 of those 86 tops traded Barry Bonds cards raw, obviously hard to distinguish between them, but when you scan them in, they're each differentiated. Absolutely.
Very cool.
Now, whenever somebody sells something or something transacts, do they then ship it, or is it something to where you guys offer to vault it for them and do like that part? Or is there a vision for that long term, like how you guys would like to handle that?
Yeah, to this point, it's just, like I said, the deals have been going on through chat. So it's been very much like social media, where just consenting adults figure out the payment and ship in themselves. And but like I said, we are looking into some more formal transaction rails, if you will, through like a payment processor where cards can have a checkout link. And that way you have the safety of that, because a lot of people don't feel comfortable doing an off marketplace deal, which is, it's understandable. Especially, even if you're comfortable with the space, it can be a little daunting. So we wanted to provide that peace of mind for those who want it. So we're just trying to figure out the best way to do that in terms of the fees and like you say, how to handle things like shipping and things of that nature. But we're thinking it wouldn't go through us. We think it would still have the owner of the card shipped in, etc. So to be determined. We're still literally working out the details as we speak.
I love the idea, like just the idea that you can have your entire collection and that you guys actually help with making sure it's presentable and that it's like data entered correctly. Like that's huge. Like, I can't tell you how many times I've bought in duplicate like LeBron cards or like Cordell Stewart cards or like any number of the guys I PC because I just don't know if I have that one yet. And it's like, oh crap, that's like a good deal that like I don't really want to pass up. So like I end up buying it and it's like, oh crap. I just have to end up relisting it like whenever I get home and I realize I already have like 3 copies of them sitting at home.
100%.
So like that's huge. I could just grab my phone, hit the app, and be like, "Oh, okay. Here's literally every card I have," and have it in like a presentable way that I can like show off my kids, you know, like for like a lot of people, they have like they used to have wallets with like pictures of their kids in them that they'd show off at work. Like for card collectors, that's like what it is for us. You know what I mean? Like I
For real.
probably have more pictures of cards on my Instagram than I do of like me and my girlfriend, which sorry, Lady Phil, if you're listening. But I mean, that's just the way us collectors are. Our cards in our collection are very important to us. And like, I think our collections say something about us too, you know, like I feel like you can always tell something about, like, if you go to a card show, like who the vendor is based on what cards they have in their case. You know what I mean? And I've met like several friends, just like you and me, connected over Jerome Bettis earlier, you know what I mean? Like that type of thing. So I really like the social aspect of this, and getting to kind of see who people are, what they value, and you know what I mean? Like that's really, really cool. So
yeah, and we've been really popular with player PC collectors. For example, we have one, I think the biggest Ricky Henderson collector in the world, and we have another guy. I'm going to butcher the Russian hockey player's name, Bassey, for the Tampa Bay Lightning. He's got like 700 cards of his, and he said he uses NextGem to like, if hey, do I have that one or not? Because obviously with 700, it's very difficult to keep track. And one of the biggest values I've personally found from NextGem is in deal making, because you know how it is. You talked about all these pictures. You go through the camera roll. Oh, where was that picture again? Where was it? On NextGem now, you can just share one link to your collection, no matter what, text, email, put on social media, put it in your bio and your social media, and everything in there is searchable, sortable, filterable. You know, just a few clicks away. And I'm like you, like I'm hanging out with friends and I want to show them the cool card that I have that I don't maybe have it with me. Boom, right there. Next time I can show it to them. So it's definitely that accessibility and shareability is definitely a huge value.
How long does like the average card take to post? Like I see right now, this guy has 31, and I'm pretty sure he's probably posted some as we've been live. Because I've seen some of the new ones with his name. How long does it typically take for somebody to post like a single card?
I believe the taste features are coming in 2025, a couple years out.
Nice.
So. It doesn't take too long. Obviously, when you take the pictures, we upload them to our servers, we process them, we take the background out if needed, we extract that data. So I think it takes about a minute, but you can do other cards while you're doing it. So if you do 2-3 cards, by the time you're on that second or third one, the first one's already done and waiting for you. And then you just go in your queue, you check the details, and just make sure everything's set like you want. And in addition to all those kind of main fields that you're seeing, we have a lot of private fields as well. So if you want to enter notes about how much you paid for it, where did you get it? Is there a condition issue on this card that, oh yeah, that remind yourself that is a soft corner, whatever. So yeah, lots of kind of customizability with that, with your collection, so you can really track and manage it properly.
And I think that just to go back to what you said about the hockey player. I'm saying just to go back to what you said about the hockey player, you know, even as just knowing what you have, like, again, if you're a player collector, to be able to go through, you know, and just see, you know, as you're sitting there at a show, right? Because if you're home and you're scanning eBay, right, you probably can look at yourself, right? Maybe you have them in a binder or so on, something like that, right? Or you bring up another window, even still, you know, 6 to 1 have does the other. But especially when you think about it, when you're at a show and you're looking and you're seeing so many of the one player that you're having, you're wondering, you know, because, you know, depending on who you are, someone who has 700 cards of a guy, that's the guy who says, if I see this player's name on a card, I buy it. Right, I'm already interested in that player, so I'm thinking about buying it. You know, so there might be that, you know, if the guy's been around for, let's say, you know, 7 years, right? There might be that 2012 card, or I'm sorry, or like that 2014 card, you know, that you weren't even sure of. But do I have that? Do I not have that? I've never seen. Did I have? You know, when quick go through? No, hey, I don't have that one. Boom. You know, and
or with all the
especially you can use a search feature.
Or with all the variations today, right? Or is that the red or the red wave or the red ruby wave? Or
right.
True.
But one of my favorite things to do, like to show the value of NextGem, is because we've all been there with all the pictures in our camera roll, right? And spinning through it, trying to find a specific picture. So I tell somebody, you know, talk to them about their cards, say, okay, find me a picture of that one. And then at the same time, I tried to find a picture on my collection on NextGem, and I just search a couple buttons, boom, and I have it. And then I just wait and watch them try to find it. So it really shows off the value and the time saving, when you do that.
Is there anything besides like just the picture that you guys require for a listing? Like, do you ask that they try to at least put in like what they believe the card to be, or are you like, if it's just the picture, do you guys still go and like put in the data and stuff like that for it? And then also, second part, is there any limitations? Like, for example, I see PGI. Like, so does that mean like basically any form of like graded card or anything like that's able to be uploaded regardless of which company it comes from or whatnot?
Yeah. Our only big rule, other than obviously no fakes, forgeries, all that shenanigans, but front and back pictures. And over the last couple of years, there's been times like, oh, should we only be front pictures? We only want to do front. It's like, no. One of the reasons we started this is because we want front and back pictures, because you need that information to truly appreciate a card or make a proper decision if you're thinking of acquiring it. So that's definitely a steadfast rule. And then we definitely have some fields that are required before you scan it and they go to your upload queue, and then you publish it from there. So you have to enter some key information. Just make sure there's year, player, set. I think those are the main ones, and genre. But most of that's already going to be pre-populated for you, even on raw cards. You kind of just have to double check, make sure it's right. If there's an error, maybe correct it. But all that's already kind of done for you. So no, like I say, just those key fields are required, and we're constantly working on improving that data extraction. But as you can see, a lot of raw cards, and those look like David Montgomery to me, JJ McCarthy.
Is there any limitation from like I guess cost of a card? Like, could you put like a penny card on there all the way up to like $1 million card, or like?
No, you can put whatever card you want. Yeah, and that's one of the cool things is this is something I think resonates across the spectrum, no matter where you are in the hobby. And I always say there's something for everyone, and I'm as guilty as anyone at times of like getting card envy, right, and wishing I could play at higher levels and get these bigger cards. But I kind of have my lane, and I really enjoy that hobby, and I think NextGem supports everybody in that regard. So, but I will say, with all that said, we definitely kind of lean towards the higher end, and that's something I'm very proud of. We've got some really special cards on the app that you will literally see nowhere else, and also the people who own them. And I think that's an important aspect of it too. We're not all about the cards, we're about the community too, and the people who own those cards. Yeah, there is definitely plenty of eye candy. Just one that always comes to mind is there's a Michael Jordan 1997 Ultra Masterpiece 101. Just a 52 mantle came on the other day. It's just lots of really high-end special stuff that you won't see anywhere else.
That's awesome. That's really cool. How frequently, like, I mean, I don't know, you might get like analytics from the website, but like how frequently do people upload a card? Is it like once every like couple seconds, like that a new card like is on the platform or whatnot? Because like I said, just since we've been live, I've seen new ones pop up.
Yeah, so it's pretty steady, cool. And it varies depending on day of the week, time of the day. Obviously the weekends are more busy for us, evenings, but just kind of the way the card world works. But I remember the very, very earliest days of the app. I'd refresh that feed, wait for new cards to come in. I'd be like, come on. Yeah. And now pretty much every time you refresh, there's something cool, new to see. And even if there's not, there's another 200,000 to go search. And, even on like the search tab on the app, we have some pre-populated searches where you can just click gold cards and it'll show you gold cards, right? Just to make it really easy to go and browse, and kind of like you would do on Instagram, right? You're just scrolling through, enjoying it. You can do that with cards.
That is
really, I tell you, cool. the idea that, because you like right there, that Tony Gwynn card. Well, yeah.
Which
that one's randomized, so you might not be there. You could probably just search Tony Gwynn credentials.
But
I got lost in Heinz Ward. Sorry.
Yeah. but that
shiny,
that
right?
Card.
Yep.
That card, the way that one showed the yellow and the green and the reddish color, you're right. Being able to lay that card down and kind of move your phone just a little bit to where you see that is
this
like
one?
Yeah, the
Is this
second
the
card
one?
right there, right to the
Oh,
right of
okay,
that one.
yeah,
Right, to be
yeah,
able
yeah,
to see the blue, the purple, the green, the red, to be you more than likely, when you're looking straight at that card, you don't really see, I mean, you see it, but you don't see it like that. So to be able to take a picture slightly
mhm.
off angle, but
Oh yeah,
then have it show up as though you look as though you were right on top of it,
yep.
that is
Yeah.
frigging cool.
It
Most
literally
modern
looks
cards
like a
have like a
scan,
personality. Yeah. And even like
but
the most expensive flatbed scanners, they can't capture that quality of every
correct.
card because they're limited to the one angle. So
Yeah.
yeah, that's definitely something that we're proud of. And it was a lot of work to develop. And it was frustrating times to get it right and to get it consistent. But yeah, we're really proud of that. And like you say, the results speak for themselves. Look at that thing.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
because
That's a
when
great
you
picture.
take that picture yourself, right? The card looks, distorted because the way you're angled, right? One side
Mhm.
will look smaller than the other. It's just the way it is. But when
Yeah,
I mean, you don't see any of that at all. I mean, that's really
yes.
good.
I had the idea to make it happen. I wish I could take credit for like the coding and the really the smart stuff behind the scenes that did it. But shout out to our guy who did. Like I said, it was definitely a lot of work to get there, but it was worth it.
Yeah, I can imagine. I mean, this is awesome what you guys have got built here, and from what I can see here, you can import your cards and upload stuff right from your computer as well as your phone. Correct.
Yep,
So like if
absolutely. And with the web, you can't do the live image capture. That's the big drawback with the web presence. You have to take,
okay,
but you can just take the pictures with your phone and
yeah.
go through the web that way. So from your camera roll.
Oh, so that's cool. So like even if I don't have pictures yet, but I have like a card, I can
Yeah.
just grab my phone and live take a picture for it to be sent to you
Yep.
guys.
And then just import that picture, just select it from your camera roll and send it up, and it'll go through the same process as if you had taken it live. Yep.
Do you guys ever have the problem where like a photo is just not good enough quality and you have to like reject it and ask for a new one?
Yes. And I'm probably the biggest stickler on that. I'm probably the one on the
Mhm.
team who like takes that the hardest, and I try to monitor and I mean it's
Mhm.
understandable. There's a learning curve. I mean, I take way better images now than I did even a few months ago. It's I'm constantly getting better, learning little tips and tricks. But
Yeah.
when I see an issue, all I do is I just reach out to them and say, "Hey, I noticed this got a little skewed," and just let them know what they can do better. And a lot of times, it's
Mhm.
just something really simple. Maybe on the image import, they forgot to click the little background removal boxes underneath, or maybe the biggest thing is the background, because to do all this fancy processing, it can't be a super busy background with all kinds of
Yeah.
writing and different stuff. So more often than not, it's just reminding people, hey, use a solid white or black background for the best results. But overall, as you can see, I think we have some pretty savvy collectors, and savvier collectors, they know how important images are, and they know how to capture them. So by and large, I think we do all right.
Hey, thanks, Mark. Good to
Hey,
see you,
Mark.
brother. Big shout out to Mark
Any
over there at the Pittsburgh
Appreciate
Card
it,
Show.
Mark.
But yeah, I definitely. Hey, Steve. Good to see you, brother. Appreciate you being here as well tonight. But yeah, I mean that's really cool. The technology that you have as far as being able to keep that refractor on there, because I've seen tons of like high resolution scanners that are like the best ones like money can buy that can't capture that bit of refractor like that. So that's
Yeah.
that's awesome.
Yeah, and
And
if you
really, like
search
the
too,
card.
one thing we do is with search, you can search not only for cards, but you can search for other members, and you can even do cross-platform search. So if you enter in your profile, and you can enter your collecting interests, all that stuff in your profile, including your social media handles. So if
Nice.
you're one thing on eBay, one thing on Instagram, one thing on NextGem, you can do a cross-platform search and find that person. So if you know their Instagram handle, you can find them on Instagram or Twitter or wherever.
Nice. That's really cool. I like that you can really just go and have like an entire profile built, like with your entire collection, anything you want in there. Um,
One
now, do
home
you
for your
guys
hobby
plan
is
on?
my little quick saying I like to use.
Do you guys plan on ever charging for the service of uploading your cards and being able to do this, or is this something that's gonna like be a free service for people to upload as many cards as they want?
Yeah, and up until this point, our focus really has not been monetization. We've just been focused on building this cool app and this universe of great cards and people. But now obviously it's a business. We're going to start trying to monetize, and we're kind of like fleshing out all the different possibilities. But we've talked about subscriptions, maybe the free tier and then premium if you want more. But I'm thinking we might be leaning a little bit more towards those marketplace services, and maybe doing a fee. And obviously we have to compete with major marketplaces to do that. But I think that's the route we might be going down, and keeping the app free, and just focusing on the transactions instead. But stay tuned.
I think that'd be really cool. Like, I think you guys are onto something really, really awesome with this. Like, just the fact that you can literally go and put anything you want in here and not have to, like, as of right now, pay anything to put your collection up. And then, like, all the new integrations you guys are going to have, not only being able to see what cards you have, like, so that way I don't keep rebuying the same ones, but if I want to trade, I can be like, hey, Michael, go check out my next gem and see which one of these cards you want, because I want that one. You know what I mean? Like, I think that's huge.
Absolutely. And you can see some of these pictures too. You might be wondering, you see some of the information is blurred out, obfuscated. The serial number, the barcode, and also on the back, the little QR code that takes you to the PSA page with the population information. And you can toggle that off as the owner if you want that information, or if you want to get pictures with it showing. But we do that for a couple reasons. One, privacy. Some people don't want looking up exactly what comp or what might be, but also two, the bad actors will, especially on high-end cards, which we have a lot of, they'll use that valid certification numbers to create a fake slab. And if you own a $100,000 card, the last thing you want is a fake one floating around with your certification number on it. So those are that's the reason we do that. A lot of people kind of ask, and it's kind of, some people, it's kind of a take it or leave it feature, but it's very important to the ones who do want that privacy and security.
Yeah, absolutely.
And another one of those kind of card specific things that we do.
That makes a lot of sense, especially with everything that like has really come out recently, just with a lot of scams and stuff going on. It's so easy for somebody just to print a label, you know what I mean? And like these, especially like a PSA type of slab, like I've seen people be able to like pry them open with their hands and then just slip a new label in. So being able to protect whatever this number is, it makes sure that this guy is safe from being tied up in any kind of shenanigans that somebody might just randomly try to do on the internet, so that's huge. I like that you guys do that.
Yeah, I think it's, the search features are really good. I mean, to me, the picture part is, again, such a unique feature that I think is, that I think some people will not realize the quality that you get, but not only that, the advantage it gives you when you're looking at, the different type of cards, right? When you're looking at a plain silver versus, a prism silver and stuff, certain things, along those lines. That's a really good feature. The linking to PSA, another one, again, it's those little it's like the little add-on features that you don't really, you don't think about them a lot of times, right? You don't think about them a lot of times, but then you realize, wow,
they add up.
That's really cool. That was beneficial. That really works, the way I thought it was going to work. And I click over here and boom, I get more information that I normally wouldn't have. And like I said, I think the big thing to, even if you're not even if you're a flipper, but you're more like what we are, you flip, to pay to either open up more boxes, or you pay to upgrade a card that you've always wanted for your collection. But if you're that, even if you're that, you're not a full-blown seller. Like, I'm not just buying and selling. I'm collecting also. And I'm using the flipping to collect, to be able to put your own personal collection on here, and especially to your point, like you said, people collect so many different things. I'm a Fred Lynn collector. I mean, I don't come across a whole bunch of those. But, but the thing about, like, if I went to a show and they go, oh, who do you collect? Oh, you collect Fred Lynn. Yeah, check out what I have. And to be able to scroll through and to have someone, to show it off, to be proud of it, right? Because you're not going to walk around with a 3-ring binder. Oh, what do you got? I'm a Fred Lynn collector. Look, here it is. Let's go sit at this table and stuff, So to have your collection in your hand, I think is I think it's a lot. It's not something that a lot of people think about, but I think as we go down the road with this, it will definitely be.
Yeah.
Well, and you mentioning Fred Lynn too, like another thing that's coming that I'm pretty excited about. It's actually coming maybe the end of this week. Knock on wood, all things going well. We're implementing this feature where all new signups and then also current members, they'll have this thing on their homepage where we're collecting. Hey, who do you collect? What are you looking for? What stuff like that, and that will go right in the profile. So when you look at somebody, you'll see all their interests, and it's going to help you find those other Fred Lynn collectors that you can have that connection with. So it's definitely something I'm very excited about because, like I said, we're as much about connecting the people as we are about the cards. And then just one other note too that I thought of, in the earliest days, I talked about how we wanted to replace kind of some of those old systems with newer technology. And a big one is spreadsheets. And I know people still use spreadsheets, right? You guys probably do too. I'm guilty at times as well. But with NextGem, you can enter all that information in the card record. And when you sell it, you mark it as sold. It'll move over to the sold tab. And it can kind of be a double-edged sword if you look back a couple years later what you sold the card for. It might be good news, it might be bad news, but you have that record. You can revisit that card if you want. You can put in there how much did you pay for it, all those things that I find myself referring back to that information all the time. So replacing that spreadsheet is another thing we strive for.
That'll be huge even for card shows, because the way I look at it is like I always have my slabs out and they're never priced correctly because the way I look at it is like whenever I get the slab in, I price it and then the market fluctuates so much. So the fact that I can literally just go onto one of my cards, click on it, and then go down here to comps, it's like it's priced for me. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like
and another use case too is like you talk about the card show. You have your collection. I mean, right now the process is you go up to the table, like, hey, you buying? Grab your Zion case, throw it up on the glass table, and you're hoping it doesn't break it, scratches it up, and they have to physically go through it. Now, either on their phone or on your own, they can just look through what you have. And if they're interested in something, they want to see in person, you can pull it out, but it saves you a lot of that, hassle of pulling the cards out when you're out and about at shows.
Yeah, that's huge. That's actually something I'm going to do. Upload my
and
entire
safety too, right? I mean, every time you open a Zion case, man, a card show, there's a lot of hands, right? You got to keep your eyes open. It's like if you can limit that to as little as possible, it makes it a lot easier.
Yeah, that's brilliant. Yeah, that's a really good idea. Just a few questions in the chat. I'm pretty sure you've answered this already, but the app is on Android already. Is that right?
So right now for Android users, the solution would be just to go in their browser on their phone and just go to app.nextgem.com. You can sign up and have an account there. But then later this month, again, knock on wood, all things going well, we'll also be in the Google Play Store where you'll be able to go there and download as well. But for the time being, just go to your browser and app.nextgem.com and you can create an account.
Awesome. If you have any issues, Steve, hit me up. I can help walk you through it afterwards or whatever. And then Mark, he's the promoter over at the Picksburgh show. He basically says that he would love to invite you to Picksburgh show to highlight the app and make it more visible to collectors in the area.
That'd be a card show.
He has one of the biggest card shows in all of Pittsburgh. They've recently just started in the past year or so, but his shows are legendary already. So
I've never been to Pennsylvania, I don't think. So that would be a first. I'd love to.
Come on out. We'll get you a Permane sandwich.
Love it. I want to go through the Fort Pitt Tunnel. That's on my bucket list.
Oh, you'll love it. You come out, you get to see all the stadiums and downtown and all the rivers. It's really nice.
There's a scene in the movie The Perks of Being a Wallflower, which I really like, where they go through there and they're in the back of a pickup truck standing up. And I was like, I don't know if I'm going to stand up going through, but.
Cool. Well, hey, if you make it, man, dinner's on me.
All right, man. Appreciate that.
Go for some steaks or something. Well, actually, dinner's on Mark. No, I'm just kidding.
And that show's growing. I mean, they've already had to move to a new spot, right?
Oh, that's awesome to hear.
Yeah.
It's amazing. Anybody who's saying the hobby is dead, they don't have their eyes open. I live in Minnesota. I'm a lifelong Minnesotan, and up until this year, our card show is just one of those. Is that like a abandoned store in a strip mall where it's missing half the ceiling tilings. The half that are there are like water stained, and the same people. And just this year now, somebody put together a big one, like a national show. People came in from all over the country. It was 300 plus tables, and it just
That's
could
awesome.
not have gone any better. It was just absolutely incredible. And yeah, the hobby is alive.
Yep, absolutely. Just like Mark says, he's buying. He's always buying, man. Every time I
Love
see
it.
him, he's like, "Oh man, you'll never guess this collection I just picked up." I go by his case the other day. It's like literally full of Ellie De La Cruz. It's like, man, how many did you just buy?
Good guy to buy, man. He's pretty special.
Yep, absolutely.
And I think the people who are saying, you know, I think what you're seeing is the people who are saying that the hobby is dying and it's those are the guys that got in it for strictly investments
And got
you know,
spoiled.
and they got spoiled with the pricing and everything and all this other kind of stuff. You know, the hobby has, I mean, you know, when you look at the collector portion of the hobby people, you know, and the little flippers, right? You know, I mean, the hobby has been steady, you know, from that standpoint. I think it's the big time investors who came in and were trying to go through that and expected that, you know, constantly cards go up and up and up and up. I think those are the ones who are like, oh my gosh, the card market is doing, you know, so bad and so on and so forth. And it's like, well, I mean, it might be, but the truth is that maybe it got overinflated, so it's really not doing bad. It's just really coming back to reality, you know,
100%.
from that standpoint.
And we kind of
Imagine
weeded
if
out
it
a
was-
lot of the people who weren't, like you said, in it for the right reasons per se, that were just kind of in it for a quick buck. You know, when they couldn't make a quick buck, they left. And I think overall the hobby's probably better for that. But at the same time, the thing that most amazes me whenever I'm at a card show is all the savvy young people. I mean, I'll never forget. I was at the National a few years ago, and this kid couldn't have been 12 years old. He comes up to me in the hotel lobby. Do you want to look at my cards? And I think I'm just kind of placated. I'm sure, kid. Let's see what you got. Like 40 grand worth of slabs. It's just like, and you know, they know how to deal too. They know the lingo.
Oh, yeah.
And like I said earlier about those life lessons you learn, man, talking to people, negotiating, managing finances. It's just, the hobby is just great for young people. So just think where all these little savvy people at these card shows now flipping cards, just think where they're going to be in 20 years when they have the bankroll to really do it.
Yeah, absolutely. It's going to be,
and
it's gonna be
fanatics
fun
too. I mean, I know fanatics. I'm wary in a lot of ways as well, but the thing I am excited about is the marketing dollars. They're going to 10, 15x the number of marketing dollars. They're going to make a huge effort to kind of bring the hobby to the casual sports fan, and that can do nothing but good, that type of awareness. And, you know, there should be a card shop in every major sports stadium, etc.
That would be awesome. I don't see why more stadiums outside of like the little team packs that some of them do. Like, why would you not sell cards? Like, if you're an MLB team, why would you not have like Bowman and Tops and like all the different sets there and make all the money that like the Walmarts and the Targets and everybody else is making off of it when you're the actual MLB team, you know?
My $1 million idea is I want to open like a shop like right on the Vegas Strip, all glass window, breaking right in the window, selling spots right there. So when all the sports fans and gamblers are walking by, they can get in right there. Boom.
Yeah, that would be huge. I would do it if I was in Vegas, you know?
Right? It's no different than spin the roulette wheel, right?
Very true. Yeah. Very true. But the difference is you at least end up with a piece of cardboard at the end.
Exactly.
So you at least get something.
And I think because you think about, you know, Anthony, when you take it a step further, not only from a card perspective, but even, you know, from a little more memorabilia and bringing it all, both of them, you know, together. You know, yes, I know you can't, let's say something happens and somebody does something great at a game, right? I know you can't take the player's jersey and, you know, cut it up into all those little squares and print a card real fast and throw it in the gift shop. But there are other things that you can do that is also hobby related. You know, I mean, you know, the hobby is not all just the cardboard part. There's the other pieces to it that people collect also. So you're right. It gives you another way to have them. It gives the person who's more of a maybe a memorabilia person to get them into cards, and it takes a card person and it maybe has them look more into a little bit of memorabilia when you can put all of that, you know, under one roof and one little store in each stadium.
And I think there's room for the teams to get involved too. Maybe they have such great access to the players, right? Maybe they get special autograph inscriptions, or maybe they do special ones where they get, you know, for a birthday or something. I mean, there's a lot of ways they could do it. And I think Fanatics is kind of getting innovative with that type of stuff. I really liked how they every player who made their major league debut this year, they wore an MLB debut patch, and they're going to take that patch and put it in a 101 card. I mean, how cool would it be to have the Anthony Volpe 101 or the, it's like, so, or the Jason Dominguez. I mean, he's going to have one, right? I mean, what's that thing going to be? I mean, yeah. So I think that's really cool. And I think Fanatics is doing some innovative stuff. So like I said, I think there's plenty of reason to be wary of big companies and all that. But I think in the whole, I think the Fanatics impact is just going to be a huge net positive.
Yeah, I hope.
Well, like I said, I think the big thing is that they are for the collector, and I think that the people, honestly, goodness, I really think the people that are very, very afraid of what Fanatics might do are the people that are investors, because look, if there's more of a supply of certain things, it's not as valuable when there's less supply. Right. I mean, it's just that's basic supply demand, in any industry and any collectible, whatever it may be. And I think there are a lot of people who think, oh, my gosh, there's going to be too many of this, too many of that, and it's not going to be worth as much. Yeah, but for the guy who's the collector, that's awesome, because I'm not going to have to pay $800 for a card that really is maybe $40, $50, because there's more of them out there. There's not as scarce as they are, from that standpoint.
And there's still adjustments going on too, like the card shops and the breakers in terms of their product, right? I mean, the days of like getting a box of Prism for $200 from the manufacturer and selling it for $1,800 immediately, that's over. Fanatics is taking a bigger chunk of that margin, and I think the card shops especially are still trying to finagle how to manage that. So there's going to be some bumpy times with such a big transition to Fanatics, undoubtedly, but it's a long-term thing, and I'm sure they're viewing it like that. They have this for 20, 25 years. They have these licenses locked up. It hasn't even started yet. So, they're just getting started, and they're going to throw a lot of resources at it.
Wow, I didn't realize they had them for that long.
Yeah, I didn't realize it was crazy long. I think it's like 2 decades, maybe even more. Yeah.
Holy crap.
Yeah.
Yes, they're gonna have a stranglehold for a good bit.
Get comfortable.
Yeah.
Yeah, but like I was saying, it's even like we had, Victor, the rookie card, specialist guy on, a couple weeks ago, and we were talking about, what is a rookie card and all this kind of, crazy stuff. And I said to him, honestly, Victor, with me personally, I am like right in the middle, 50-50. I said, the collector in me wants there to be a lot of Shohei Ohtani different rookies, so I can get one of the ones that are, let's say, not as desirable, but say I have a Shohei rookie in my collection. Right. Yeah. Whereas if you limit that, all of a sudden so that's the collector to me, right? The investor part of me again says, wow, that's crazy, man. I don't know which one now there's too many from a value standpoint. So I go ahead and get it, but I'm more of a collector and investor, so I don't care. You want if there's 700 different rookie variations of somebody, that's fine. It gives me the opportunity as a collector to be able to get one. And that's what I want to be able to do, when it comes to those hot players, those iconic players and stuff like that.
Yeah. Well, I kind of have an example like that too. So like, I'm a huge fan of Anthony Edwards. I love the Timberwolves to the point where I'm so in the bag, I shouldn't invest in his cards anyways. But like the reason I haven't bought a big Anthony Edwards cards at this point is because I can't figure out which one. There's so many, because I want something that's going to hold value. It's a relatively big investment. I want something that I'm going to be happy with many years, but there's just so many. I mean, he has different cracked ice and the variation cracked ice and the blue shimmer. It's just like, I haven't found the one that really spoke to me that, yeah, that's the one. So I definitely, I mean, it can be confusing. It's, with so many parallels and so much out there right now, but more cards is always, it's not a terrible thing necessarily.
No, and to your point, with all that's one, you make a great point on that last one, is that sometimes it's so hard to figure out that one that catches your eye, because if there's 5 of them there and they're all 5 different, you're like, man, that one's good. Well, you know what? Wait, so is that one. But holy cow, that one's really, I mean, to your
Mhm.
point and stuff, and and with there being it's so much choice, it does actually make it harder to pull the trigger.
So my
Yeah.
solution to the Anthony Edwards problem for my PC to this point, I have one in my PC, and it's just a regular silver prism that I bought raw. I graded myself. It's a BGS 9.5, half a point under a true gem. But the reason it's special to me is I took it to his very first home playoff game, and I have a picture
Nice.
holding it with the court in the background. So that's
Nice.
how I've kind of solved for that. Instead of finding the one with the rarity with the serial number, I've made one rare special to myself for the time being.
There you go.
That's pretty cool. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's a good memory to have tied to a card too. Like I can always think of different cards that I've had for a long time. I could always think of like, oh, I remember I got this card when I was, 12 years old, at this flea market or whatever. You know what I mean? So it's cool to have like that kind of a memory to it. Especially
Yeah.
like a playoff game when you're that big of a fan of the team. That's really cool. The only
Now,
thing would be
Ed-
better is if he came out of the stands and signed it for you.
But now,
Yeah, right?
Ed, what
One
would have
day.
happened if you would have been able to buy a blaster, and like there's somebody in the community, I forgot he goes his card channel was Red Rum, right? He ripped open an Archives blaster, and there was a silver foil Shohei Ohtani autograph in it. So imagine if you went to an Angels game and you go into the store and you buy a blaster of Archives, and you're sitting there, and as the game's going on in between, you're ripping open the packs and you pull that card at that game and everything, what that does for the memory, that card becomes priceless.
Oh, yeah.
Never forget it. And one of the special cards on Next Gem, it's a Kobe Bryant 97 Ultra Platinum Medallion. So it's a great card. It's out of 100. But what makes it so special is the story behind it. So the owner, as a kid, a guy a couple houses down from him would have a garage sale every weekend, and he would put that card out. And he was a kid. He couldn't afford it at the time. Then years later, decades later, he gets back into cards hardcore. So he's like, you know what? I'm just going to call up this guy and see if he still has that. He still had it.
Wow.
So he acquired his like grail card that he sat there every weekend and drooled over as a kid. He has that card now. So I literally, that gives me kind of goosebumps right now telling that story.
Yeah.
I just love that. There's nothing better in the hobby than when a card finds the perfect home. And that's like that. There couldn't be a better example of it than that.
That is really, really cool.
That is really cool. Yeah, and like you said, that's a story that very few people are going to be able to match.
Yeah.
Yeah. Even with like vintage cards, I always like to imagine the little kid going into his corner store in 1952 and throwing down his nickel for that pack and pulling a Mickey Mantle. I mean, just every card's got a story behind
putting
it.
in the bike spoke.
Right? In fact, one of the fields we have for every card is there's a card story field. So if there is a special story like that, you can share that with others and put that in there.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you make a great point. My favorite card that I have for my Fred Lynn collection is the card that I brought to the Nationals, not this Chicago, but the one before then, and stood online and sat there, and just had I don't know, but it seemed like it was 20 minutes. It was probably 25 seconds, conversation, with him, and watching him sign that card and him looking back up to me and saying, "Hey, here you go. Thanks a lot," and everything. Right. That's my favorite. That card has, to 99.9% of the hobby, that card has, no value to, but to me, it had it, it's one of those ones that, no, you can't buy it.
I can totally relate. When I think of collecting as a kid, I think of the 1990 score Chuck Knobloch rookie card. And I have in a PSA 10, and Chuck Knobloch was signing at the National a few years ago. So I got a t-shirt made with a picture of my PSA 10 Knobloch. And then I went and I met him and I got a picture with him and he's holding the PSA 10, and then I got him to autograph the picture. So I can absolutely relate to that. Like I said, that's not a big card for probably 3 people in the world, but to me, it's priceless. And it even has the slab in the travel back and forth to the National. The slab got a little crack down the corner. I'm never getting it reslabbed. I know,
no.
you know, it's a memory. It's character.
Yeah.
Oh, Michael. You have to drool, brother.
There's one they missed the crop in box on the import.
Right.
Yeah, that's a good
Oh, look, it has a baseball with it too. That's cool.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it's an Fred Lynn auto. That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
It's wild that somebody that I would think as obscure as Fred Lynn, like no shade towards you, Michael, because that's your guy, but like that'd be like me looking for Anderson Varejao or Cordell Stewart, who are like, those are my big PCs, you know what I mean? Who like no one outside of Pittsburgh or Cleveland care about those guys. But it's cool to see you have that many Fred Lynn cards on there. Like,
yeah, we're really proud of the growth. Like I said, I think we're coming up. I think we're just about 200,000 cards on the platform now. Really high degree of average quality. And yeah, definitely. And constantly growing, right? Every day, tons more coming in.
Cordell Stewart, PMG.
Wow.
No.
Wow.
You'll see that one every day.
I need this. I didn't know that this existed.
Well, you can see, is it marked for sale or PC or open to offers? And
let's see.
Go to try the trade button, maybe. There's like a trade tab there.
Yep.
There he is. Okay, maybe I can't remember exactly, but yeah, I think that's probably available if you want to inquire. I can.
Oh yeah, I'm definitely in on that, Cordell. Definitely.
Yeah.
But I just love the fact that you have that much there. And now I see that you have the open to trade feature here too. That makes it even easier. Like if I'm actually looking to trade somebody. So like all of these cards here are marked open for trade. That's really cool.
Yep. Because that's such an important aspect of the hobby too, right? It's not always just cash for cash. I know personally, like if I can ever do a cash trade deal, that's ideal, right? Anytime you can do a little trade, it helps. So
for sure.
It's a cool. I mean, it's definitely a cool feature. You know, open to trade and stuff like that. I mean, that's really nice. That's really cool.
Yeah.
And then too, you've probably seen on the cards, like when you click into one, it'll give you recommendations, right? Other people who have cards of that player on the app, other cards of that player that, you know, so it can kind of turn into a rabbit hole where you get in there for a while where you keep looking at cards for cards for cards.
Anthony's going to be up till 3 o'clock in the morning now.
Yeah, I'm getting no sleep tonight. Thanks a lot, Scott. But I mean, that's
there's worse things you can do than
this guy collects Eli
cards, right?
Yeah. Right. Collects Barry, collects Eli.
Make him a trade.
And as I said, this is one thing we're really going to be focused on in the coming months is this kind of the linking people via their interests, collecting that information and doing that matchmaking so that other people who love Cordell Stewart as much as you do, you can connect with them. And I tell you what, I appreciate Cordell too. I experienced his career in real time. And you imagine if he came along today, the type of impact and sensation he was then in today's world of social media. And I mean, people were like losing their mind over him then. It was such a rarity.
Yeah, absolutely.
It still is, right? Like how often do you see a guy play quarterback and then go play wide receiver these days?
Yep, for sure.
You know, but like I said, I think
Holmes isn't running many routes.
No.
Very true.
No, he's not. And I think that you know, like I say, the little, again, it's those little add-on things, like I said, about, you know, the open a trade, this person collects, this person does this and everything. You don't really, you know, those little things are enough to, you know, like you said, you know, oh wow, wait a minute, he collects Barry Sanders. Wow, you know, I have a bunch of Barry Sanders. I wonder if we can work something out and everything, you know, from, you know, like you're saying, I mean, it opens the door for you to, it gives, or it's an icebreaker. In reality, it's really more of an icebreaker for you to talk to somebody about. They're already basically telling you what they collect. So to click on that card and see that this guy likes player XYZ or ABC, then you can actually go through your collection and, man, I have these 5 cards. I wonder if we could work a deal. That's a great icebreaker.
Yeah, and can I just mention one other thing too? We haven't really talked too much about, but the social media aspect of the app. We make it really easy to share your cards to Instagram, Twitter, by sharing those images. And one cool thing we do, like on Instagram, most people don't even use the hashtags, but they're so important. And we automatically generate the best hashtags for the card you're sharing to ensure not only it goes to the most people, but the right eyes. You know, if you
Oh,
happen to share a
wow.
Cordell Stewart card, we want to make sure that Anthony sees that Cordell Stewart card, right? So,
Oh, yeah.
you know, we definitely can help you kind of easily grow your social media audience. And I'll admit, I'm not like a social media animal. Like, it's a little bit of a struggle for me. I almost view it as a chore sometimes. So I like that this helps me kind of streamline that as much as possible. And there is huge value to having a following on social media. And at first, like I said, I was leery. I was like, I don't want a bunch of people following me. I don't need attention. But there's value in it because I'm collecting this rare set, 1998 Fleer Brilliance Gold basketball. It's not, they're all serial numbered out of 99. It's been my main collecting focus for about 14 months now. I'm at 100 and I think 117 out of 125 cards. I need 8 more. But because I share every one I get on my social media handle, I've become like kind of known for collecting that set. People know I collect Fleer Brilliance Gold. So I find myself just getting tagged or shared that when, and it's helped me so much acquire these cards that I otherwise never would have found all across the world. Norway, Germany. I got one coming from Germany right now, the Philippines, just all over the world. I've been able to acquire these cards. And I would say half of them have come through social media. So, you know, I was a skeptic myself when it comes to social media, but there's definitely value in doing that. And when you get to be known, when people know what you collect, the cards start coming to you, especially when those rare ones that just aren't on those marketplaces.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, that's why I always said, you know, like my son wanted to, Michael Chavis is a friend of our family, you know, and stuff. And, you know, my son wants to try and complete some rainbows. And I said that you know, the hardest thing is, you know, you have to be online looking at that one particular time when that card gets listed, and you hope it's not a buy me now, you hope it's an auction, so at least you have a shot at it. But to your point, if you saying, hey, I'm a collector, so on and so forth, the next thing you know, people on social media who never even thought about selling the card all of a sudden finds that somebody else, you know, is a collector or is looking for this type of thing. You said they reach out to you, and next thing you know, you get that to 5 card that maybe has been pulled, but you had no idea that it was pulled because you were just looking on eBay.
Well, and another thing we do with the card statuses is circumstances change, right? One card that might be untouchable one day, circumstances change. Maybe a month from now, 6 months from now, that card becomes available. If that card's on your watch list in the app and somebody changes the status from personal collection to open for offers or for sale, you're going to get an alert on your phone. So you're one of the first ones that has a chance to go get that card, because that FOMO, it's real, right? There's a reason we check marketplaces and our saved searches all the time. And we have saved searches in the app that I use. And I mean, there's been cards for my set that I was talking about, a couple that I missed that somebody just beat me to, and they haunt me, right? Because I don't know when I'm going to see it again. So in fact, one of them I just overpaid for by like double, just because I was like, I can't lose it again. So yeah, having those alerts and that first to know is definitely a huge value, especially with those rare cards.
For sure. John brought up a good point. He said this would be great for dealers at a card show. And what I'm thinking of is saving table space. Could you imagine if you just had like a tablet out with like all of your cards that you wanted to put out, like, you know, say in lieu of a bargain box or in lieu of slabs that you don't have space to put out, or say you even don't have like a case to put them in and you're worried about putting out $1,000 cards or even multi-$100 cards, you know, where people can just walk up and grab them. You know what I mean? Like being able to just being able to stick out a tablet. And then if somebody says, oh, that's a nice, you know, whatever, you can then open up your Zion case and then present them with the card. But yeah, I can see this being a huge benefit, you know, especially because like every time I set up at a show, there's always cards that I don't put out because I just don't have room. And then as the day goes on, it's like, okay, I have some spaces on my table. Let me throw out some more cards. So like now this actually technically gives you the opportunity to put out everything as long as somebody's willing to slide through what you have on your next gem app.
Absolutely. And it's my dream one day to have just the whole table be a touch screen, right? With this view that you're showing where you can just tap through. But in the meantime, just like you said, put out an iPad or a laptop and you get that same experience. And in both ways, right? If the other person on the other side of the table is on Next Gem too, and their cards are there, it streamlines it both ways.
True. Very true.
Yeah, and to your point, Anthony, if someone says, "Oh, hey, who are you looking for?" I am looking for, Mac Jones. You say, "Oh, well, I have these right here," but also hold on a second. You
Yep.
bring up you go to your laptop, you search, your store, Mac Jones. You go, "Hey, check
Yep.
out these. Slide through. I have these. I don't have them out. I have them back here. But I didn't have room for them. You can look at these too also." And they could scroll through and you go, "Oh, wow. Can I see this one? Hold on. Yeah, sure." You turn around, you get it, stuff like that. So I mean, it really,
Yeah.
it
Not to
It's
talk
always
about my
wild what dealers have behind the table too that's not out or not on
Totally.
display. You know what I mean?
Not to
Because
talk about
half the
my
time I'm like, you have something that's like mind-boggling to me, and you don't even have it out for people to see. So like this right here is a perfect solution to that.
Well, and one thing I do with collecting my set when I'm at a card show is I literally have one pulled up on my phone and I go table to table. Do you have any of these? And last October I was in Chicago and I did that. And the guy said, "I think I have a Stephon Marbury back here." And I mean, my face just about melted because I mean, that's a hard one to find. He's a Minnesota guy. And I mean, I wasn't going to tell him, but no matter what price he said, that card was coming with me. But that was a perfect example where if I hadn't asked, I wouldn't have come home with that card, and I'd probably still be looking for a copy. So if he had a tablet right on the thing there, I would have just looked up Fleer Brilliance and checked to see if he had anything, and kind of streamlined it that way. Because a lot of people might not ask. Not everyone's is crazy as me. They'll go around and ask 300 people the same question.
If you're looking for specific things, having the option just to like go up to a tablet and click search, and type in like literally as obscure as something you can think of, like Anderson Varejao. Like most people don't even know who he is, but I guarantee you probably have cards of him on here.
And I mean, the experience too.
You have
You're
an
making a card deal, right?
Oh my gosh.
The back and forth in card deals, right? I mean, what else do you have, right? What else? Send me pictures of that. Try to find pictures of more stuff. Okay, what about this? Now, one link. Share one link.
There's another card Anthony's going to be looking at later.
That's a chunky. Is that a chunky patch? I like it though. Either way,
it is. Yeah, and that's
a cool autograph. It's kind of intricate.
Yeah.
A lot of it's not an easy one.
So, is there a need feature like you could put your collection on, right, of what you have? Is there a need feature that this way you wouldn't have to remember every single one of a particular set or a particular rainbow that you might not like realize there's a tiger stripe of this, but from that type of standpoint?
Yeah, absolutely. And that's one of the aspects that's coming with this information. I talked about how we're going to start gathering during sign up from current members, not only what they have, but what they're looking for. What are those grail cards? For me, I put in those 8 cards I still need for my set. I put like a Felipe Lopez card, who's one of my other PCs, an old 90s basketball player. But yeah, you put that in there and then we're going to use that data to find the people who have them, both on the app and off the app. So stay tuned for a lot more on that. We're gonna help you discover those undiscoverable cards.
That's awesome. Question from Dom. He wants to know, what are your grail cards that you either own or that you would like to own?
Well, it's 2 answers because one's for the set. I still need the Dirk Nowitzki rookie, which is the second most expensive one in the set, and I'm just kind of waiting for the right price condition copy to come along. But then otherwise, I mentioned Felipe Lopez, and my other PC is Khalid El-Amin, another 90s basketball player from Minnesota, national championship at UConn. He played in Europe for a lot of years, but I want their credentials rookie card. The problem is the Felipe Lopez, there's only 11 of them, and the Khalid El-Amin, there's only 20. So I don't know if or when it's going to happen. Although I will say, somebody I bought a card for my set from just a couple weeks ago said they might have seen one of those Felipe Lopez over in Germany. So he's going to do a little sleuthing for me and see if he can't track it down. But I mean, just a lead on something like that is gold. And and that's a perfect example of how the community helps each other. And that's what makes the hobby great.
Absolutely. Yeah. And Mark says this app is like a virtual card show every day. And yeah, I definitely agree. being able to look for just about anything. And I really like Big John brought up, like the integration that dealers can have, as somebody that actually sets up at card shows. Like I'm already thinking about how I can now use this, like already off the top of my head. It's like comps are like basically set, because it's like impossible to keep up to date. I mean, unless you like do card shows literally every weekend, it's super impossible to keep your slabs all priced correctly with as wide as the market moves. So just being able to like go through every single slab in my Zion box and having like an accurate comp, or click on it and then real time it'll show me like the last several that sold. Like that's invaluable.
And one of the things we've done in regards to the values and comps, because that's another thing that we consistently hear, hey, how much are my cards worth? We all want to know that, but that's also a super, super difficult problem to solve. And so many people are doing it and then giving you bad information, which I think is the worst of all worlds, to give somebody the bad information. Our solution initially is to provide that comp link, right? So you as long as you enter the card title information correctly at any time, you can press that little comp button under the card, and we're going to show you the latest sales on eBay. So instead of trying to tell you what your card is worth, we're going to show you what it's selling for. We're going to give you that data, because we've just seen, as collectors ourselves, and we've experienced ourselves, there's so many bad interactions come on both sides of the table when you're working from a place where bad information is out there. So that was our kind of solution to value pricing on the app.
Question from Dom. He's a sock collector. He likes to collect different types of socks. He wants to know, is Next Gem open to showcasing articles of clothing, or is this just going to be sports cards?
We are strictly cards at the moment, but I'll make a note to explore the sock market. But in all seriousness, when Next Gem started, in due diligence, we researched other collectibles markets too, from video games to comics to stamps to coins. And I'll tell you, the coin collectors there's some interesting people there. I had some fun conversations with coin collectors. But for what we were looking to do, it just made the most sense to bring it to the sports card world. But I think you can, just looking at what you've been seeing here throughout the show, I think you can see how this could translate to other collectibles, in terms of the great pictures, displaying them, sharing them, etc. But we'll focus on the cards for the moment.
There's an article of clothing right here for you, Dom.
There you go.
The closest
Chunky
we
patch.
got. Actually, just because I'm curious, I have to know if there's anything sock related on here. Rock and sock connection. Just for you, Dom.
There's something for everyone on Next Gem, right?
Yep. I'm pretty sure they actually have made sock relics before, like for baseball.
Like Kurt Schilling bloody sock card. There's got to be a Kurt Schilling bloody sock card. I don't know if it's got the sock in it, but there's a sock. There it is.
Yep. A Socko relic. Yep. I'm surprised WWE hasn't jumped on that one yet.
I am too. That would be an awesome card to get if you could actually get the Mankind, like a piece of his Socko, like one of his. And really, it only has to be one that he put on his hand. You know what I mean? I can only imagine how many times he probably made a Mr. Socko. You know what I mean? So like they could very easily mass produce cards like that.
There's one on here that's really cool. It's a relic card. It's a Willie Nelson with his bandana, piece of his bandana.
Oh, wow.
Yes. It's a piece of red bandana. I'm not sure if it's like session worn.
It's awesome.
Autograph.
Yeah,
too.
Super cool.
And that's the thing too. Like I would have never known about this card. I just saw it come across the Next Gem Discovery feed one day when it got scanned in. I was like, oh, how cool is that? And obviously it made an impression because I remember it. Is that a Fonz on the right?
3 of them on here.
A Henry Winkler too.
Yeah.
Nice.
Excuse me.
That's wild though. He has 3 different pieces of bandana there. It's pretty cool.
Fun stuff. Awesome.
Can't wait to put my El Bundy up here.
Yeah. Did you hear how many touchdowns he scored for Pokai in one game?
Yeah, 4.
That's right.
I used to rock a Pokai jersey in middle school. Like everybody used to think I was like the man. It was awesome. Like it was like a custom football one, looked just like the one he wore on the show. It's pretty cool.
The legend Al Bundy.
Yeah.
The features are amazing. Like I said, it seems it's It's simple to I mean, from what I see, it's simple to use. It's intuitive to learn, to just hit buttons, and it's not like, you don't have to think real hard and so on and so forth. The act again, the idea that you can take a couple of pictures of a card, a front and back, and boom, and get your collection listed up, or if you have your collection scanned for whatever reason, you can just upload those and get a quick start. I mean, I think that's the biggest thing, right? There may be other things like this, but you've made it so easy for somebody to use. It's so user friendly
Mhm.
that it's going to be used. It's not going to be one of those. It's not going to be one of those apps people are going to have on their phone and be like, "Yeah, I got this app on my phone, but I don't
Yeah,
use it." There's going to be ones that they go, "Dude, check this out." You know?
Yeah.
yeah, and there's a little time commitment to the onboarding, right? You got to make a little investment up front. And I compared it to like iTunes or Spotify. You have to set up
Mhm.
your playlists and stuff, but once you have it, to have that easy access, just a couple of clicks,
Yeah,
you're right there. It's just all value after once you're set up. And
for sure.
yeah,
Absolutely. Yeah, I'm a fan. I can't wait to start playing with it.
I appreciate those kind words, guys. Seriously, coming from guys like you who are true collectors, that truly means a lot, because that's kind of how we've approached the app. And I'm glad it's kind of coming through to guys like you.
Yeah, it
Oh,
definitely is,
absolutely.
man. It's very, very cool.
It's hard for me not to play with it while we're live, to be honest with you.
I
It
love
really is. I've
There's
been
a lot
trying
of
to at
fun
least
eye
pull
candy,
up
right?
names we're talking about.
Yeah, it's easy to get lost.
Mhm.
Yeah.
It's
a
really
lot of
good.
fun.
Really, really cool, man. You guys,
So is there
you built something really the foundation that you have built right here is excellent.
Thank you. Much more to come.
definitely. Is there anything we haven't touched on yet that you'd like people to know about, whether about the company or yourself personally or anything like that?
No, just, check us out. That's our big goal right now, is just kind of getting the word out. You can
Mhm.
find us in the App Store. You can go download right now. Otherwise, go to app.nextgem.com and you can create a free account. It's totally free. You can sign up and do everything you've been doing and use the app. So yeah, no worries to come check us out. And like you said, like every search you've done, something's come up, right? There's something for
Yeah.
everyone. So
Yeah.
so yeah, I almost guarantee you'll find something relevant to you.
Yeah, that's awesome. Like, just the fact that there is so much on there already, you know what I mean? Like I've been on a lot of different platforms where it's like I even type in the name Cordell and nothing comes up, or you know what I mean? And it's like he's not the biggest guy, but the fact that you guys have a freaking Cordell Stewart PMG, like that's awesome.
I would venture to say there's certain sets like PMGs. I would venture to say there's no more PMGs in one source than on NextGem. Same for Fleer Brilliance Gold. That's partly because of me. But yeah, there's some sets that we have the market cornered on this rare stuff that, like I said, you just aren't going to see anywhere else. And if you
Yeah.
do, maybe it pops up in a marketplace once every few years. And that's not to say that it's necessarily available. Even it might be so deep in someone's PC they're going to have it buried with them.
For
But
sure.
at least you know where it is. You can go check it out, enjoy it, and shoot your shot, right? And so,
Yeah.
things change.
That's the key piece, though. It's knowing that it's out there,
Mhm.
and it gives you the opportunity. The other person could say no, but again, you may be the one that in next gem, you sent the message, and like you said, 3 months from now, 4 months from now, somebody's situation changes. Hey, it happens, and they go, you know what? I don't want this card anymore. But I remember there was that guy who went ahead and sent me a message. Let me reach out to them. And like you said, it turns around, the cards come to you, rather than you going to the cards.
Mhm.
Yeah, 100%. Yep.
Yeah.
And like you said, just knowing where they are, there's huge value in that, because there's many circumstances. There's this one of my best friends collects Randy Moss. He has one of the best Randy Moss collections in the world,
Nice.
but he wants this credentials of him. There's only 6 in the world. And he had been tracking it, and the guy's like, nope, never partner with it. A couple months ago, he parted with it, and he's like, oh,
Nice.
but he knew where it was, and somebody knew, and that's how he got it. So knowing where it is, so if and when it ever does come available, there's huge value in that. So that's definitely something we're leaning into, and so everyone can just appreciate these cards, even if they are deep in PC, including many of mine. Right, there's many in mine that somebody could offer me 10 times what they worth. I'd never part with them, but
Mhm.
know where they are. If you want to offer me 20, maybe.
Right. Well, but to your point, today, today they're not available, but something
Yeah.
comes up, you have an opportunity to do something that you're like, man, and you need to fund it, and somehow you look and you go, you know what, man, maybe I do have, but
Maybe there's another card I want more, right? I mean,
right,
you
you're
never
up,
know
like
what's
I
going to pop
say,
up.
yeah,
That Felipe Lopez credentials out of 11, if that pops up, that's not going to be a cheap card. And I mean, that's, I can replace something that's out of 50. So yeah, so you never know. Things change, circumstances change, people have life changes, and or like you said, they just want to make a big purchase, and
Mhm.
there's value to knowing where it is and being in touch for when that time comes.
Absolutely. Michael, did you have any closing questions or anything like that for Scott before we start to wrap up?
No, I mean that's great. I mean you running through the no, I mean I got nothing. I'd love to have something, but I
Yeah,
mean you've answered everything. I mean it's just like I said, it's jumping
this has
in
been fun.
and playing around.
I've had a great time chatting, guys. I
Yeah.
thank you so much for the opportunity to come in, talk about
Thank
the
you for your
app, and
time.
Yes.
share what we're doing. We're pretty proud of it.
And we'll be rooting you along, man. Best of
Thank
luck.
you.
Yeah, really enjoy what you built here. I can't wait to tinker with it. I'll be playing with it as soon as we get off here, to be honest with you.
Hit me up. I'm Scott Wright, MN on the app.
Awesome. I will have to send you a friend request on there then.
All right.
I will be
I'll you as
Thanks,
Picksburgh.
well.
Tommy.
This is
And
same
hey,
here.
and Mark's not joking around when he tells you that, if you're in Pittsburgh and he has one of his shows, he truly means what he says, is that he will go ahead and make sure that you have a spot available, that he has a spot available for you to show us off and everything.
I literally
Sure.
made a note on my post-it to hit him up and follow up and check if dates work, see if I can swing it.
Yeah.
I'm always down
If
to
you
go to a
need
good
his
card show.
info, like email or phone number or anything too, I can get it to you.
Okay, appreciate it. Thank you.
Yeah, not a problem. Awesome.
Cool.
Well, guys, we appreciate you being here today. And again, make sure you check out Next Gem. If you can, go ahead and download the app on your phone. Be the easiest way to carry around your collection if you're at a card show or whatnot. If you don't have, a mobile device to download it on, you can also get on the website app.nextgem.com, and you can go and sign up there as well. But until next episode, guys, we appreciate each and every one of you, and may God bless you.
Thanks, everybody.